Okay, we are back. Blocking in values with Pyrrole Orange. Okay, so we are just kind of doing the same thing that we did in the last two, but I got my basic values in. Now I'm going to go in with the flesh tone and create lighter and darker values with the flesh tone and really smooth the skin out as much as I possibly can. The only problem with this though is anytime you add white to a color, it's going to make it more opaque. And again, opaque means less see-through. The glazing liquid makes it more transparent, which means that you can see through it more. But it's almost like undoing the work that you've already done by adding white, especially when you do a grayscale or a grisaille first. So if I could go back in time and redo this, I would just go in with my Pyrrole Orange and my gloss glazing liquid and just kind of do a little bit darker. I would add more layers of gloss glazing liquid in the areas that are darker and less layers of the gloss Pyrrole Orange on layers that are lighter, instead of adding white, because I'm kind of undoing all the work that I've done before, and it's just going to make it much harder. Yeah, there we go. There's my first big mistake. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Okay, so oh, I can't watch. So if I would have just gone in with a layer of Pyrrole Orange first, and then if I wanted areas to be darker, I could always add a second layer of Pyrrole Orange with gloss. But instead, what I'm doing is just sort of repainting the whole thing over again. And I can tell that this was a long painting session because when I shrank it down, it's still, this video lesson is still almost 13 minutes. So I was sitting here for a while just trying to get this right. But here's the thing. So you're probably thinking, yeah, but if you only added the gloss layer of Pyrrole Orange, like, wouldn't you still have to use white anyhow to soften the skin a little bit more? And that is true. But here's what I'm thinking, is if I only went in with the Pyrrole Orange and thin layers of glaze and kind of just got the base tone color on there, like I've already added my values in. I have my highlights, my midtones, and my shadows. So if I just started this painting session off with only doing the Pyrrole Orange and glazing liquid and kind of just get it in there, and if I wanted to add highlights later, or if I wanted to soften areas, I could always do that later. But I don't necessarily have to redo the entire painting again, which is sort of what I'm doing right now. And I know that it is thin and you can still see what I did underneath, but it is creating just a little bit more work. And it's not a bad thing though. You know, like if you it does make it look a little bit like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like watching this, I don't know if I was in a rush or what, but like adding that whole thick layer of white glaze right there. Yep, now I have to fix that up. Maybe I don't know what the deal was, but I don't think I would have done that if I was not tired or something. You always have to think about like what mind state you're in before you begin your painting session. If you don't feel like you're in the right mind state, maybe take the night off so you don't make like silly mistakes that you wouldn't make on a different night. And if you do, I mean, this ended up becoming one of my favorite paintings, and I don't know if that would have happened if I didn't do this step. So you never really know what you're going to get until it's done. And sometimes you can't ever predict what you're going to do. So give yourself a break and just make sure you, like, if you do find yourself in a situation where you're like, oh man, I don't know how to get out of this, just keep going. Just figure it out. There are many ways, like the great thing about doing it like this, where you're having all these layers underneath, is you can still see the work that you did before. It's not going to take much to fix it. It might just take more time to let it dry before you add on a new layer. And actually, I think it's starting to look good now. It's so nice when you can start seeing, like what I'm doing right, oh, maybe not right now. But when you can start seeing how the transition of lightness and darkness between your colors are really starting to create a shape. It's fun to watch when it's sped up like this. Now for the chin, I don't know what I end up doing here, but I don't really need to add much more because if you think about it, the chin has more blue tones in it, so I really could just leave the chin as is. I like that I added more orange, or the Pyrrole Orange, into the cheeks because that one is going to be more like flushed, a little bit pinker in the final one, so it's good to kind of add more of those warm colors that will impact the later color glazes as well. It'll be interesting to see what I do for like right underneath the hair. If I could do this right now as a fly on the wall, what I would probably do for the hair is just kind of go in with a kind of a neutral flesh tone color, Pyrrole Orange color, maybe grayed out a little bit and just start thinning out the bangs a little bit. And how I do that is just kind of add in like fake, like you can see the forehead by going in between some of those hairs. Looks a little heavy there. I'm interested to see how this is going to go because I don't know if you remember, but there's a long eyelash shadow and it looks like it's disappeared. Also, there are like kind of longer shadows coming from the bangs above her right eye, and we're looking at it would be the left eye. So I'm gonna have to add those in. I think it would be kind of good to do it in this layer. I think this step is actually pretty straightforward. We're just kind of, by adding the second layer with our flesh tone color, our local color actually, just makes it a little bit easier to add in your final color glazes. Makes you feel like you know exactly where you're going to get. You just kind of tweak it here and there. Here we go. This is going to be really helpful. So what I'm doing... Okay, so what I did was I added my first layer of gloss for where those shadows are coming underneath the hair, because there were some that extended a little bit further and some that were a little bit lighter in color. So by using your flesh tone color, by just a darker value of it, it's actually in turn in the end going to make it appear more soft than if you're just using like a thinned out version of black. But I did use a thinned out version of black underneath the hair because that area was going to be pretty dark underneath. You still want it to be light and soft. But yeah, I created a little bit of a difference by having a dark shadow here and then a softer one over the face, so it didn't look like we just had black lines coming over her skin. Now what I'm doing is actually using this Pyrrole Orange flesh tone color for the sweater. It's good to keep the same colors throughout, even if you want to switch it later. If it's popping through a little bit, it's going to kind of blend a little bit better with the skin and everything together. And if you're thinking about it, everything is kind of giving a reflection of light off, even if it's just minuscule. So something like wool would definitely probably absorb some light, but it would also get, you know, the color of the skin on there. So a little bit of the flesh tone color on there is a good thing. We're going to move on to the next part of the painting. We're getting close.